Hey, what's up? This is Aaron with the Aaron LeBauer Show. So today we're going to talk about the traits that determine success. So I got a voice message from Derek Nielsen this morning, and Derek was basically like, Aaron, you've probably been asked this, maybe, I don't know, like what are the traits that determine people's success in business? It's like the idea that it's bird for me. It's like, oh, let me just blast these things out on a piece of paper. And record a podcast. But my first instinct was like, hey, I've already talked about this. And I probably have. And I'm sure, I think I sent Derek a link to the final talk from PT BizCon a little over a year ago where I talk about this. But I've got these down in maybe a couple different sections. And that's what I want to share with you today are the traits that determine success, because it's, is it constantly in flux or constantly in conversation? Because I was just talking about some of this last night with my good friend Greg Pennington. So here's Derek. Now I'll tell you who Derek is. Derek is a physical therapist. He was the Cash PT resident, the first one back in, I think it was 2016, or maybe it was 2017. But Derek contacted me, and I've interviewed him a couple times on the show. And I'll be interviewing him again coming up in the next month or two about some things that we're doing together now. But Derek was the first Cash PT resident. He went and started his own business, a cash practice in Durham, North Carolina. He didn't know anyone, and he made just under six figures in his first year. I think that year was 2017. And why did he make just under six figures? Because I had recently raised my rates when we hired Tyler, the second Cash PT resident. And I raised my rates because I realized I wasn't going to be able to pay a full-time physical therapist for what we were charging because we were undercharging. So yeah, that might have been 2016 when Derek worked with me. So Derek didn't raise his rates. I was like, dude, but we did it just at the end. And I did it as Tyler came in, and Tyler was like, yeah, let's do it. By the way, I've interviewed Tyler too. So they're back a couple years. Tyler also has a successful practice in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So Derek went and did that. And for 5 years, he had successful cash practice doing 20 and 30K months. But what Derek realized was that while he loved it, he was more passionate about marketing and sales and building out funnels and running ads and seeing how he could get people to fill his business through Facebook ads and webinars, etc. And one of those things that Derek did, he's like, well, one, Durham's a small town, but two, I don't like going out and doing marketing events. I don't like going out and doing workshops. He's like, I'm more of an introvert. And so he went and studied with, Frank Kern's stuff and a bunch of other people's stuff. And like, how can he make these videos? And he started doing webinars because I had been doing webinars. I taught him how to do webinars. He's like, I'm going to do a webinar for the clinic. And he built one for our clinic, but really used that to build one for his clinic, and then went and perfected it and was doing 20, 25, 30K months running ads to webinars to fill his schedule, which is really dope, which is very different than kind of what I did and what a lot of other people have done. And along the way, he had other people asking for help, and then he started helping other people and realized that the bottleneck was sales, and so he's working on sales. And then so Derek's been doing that. So he's no longer treating in practice, but he's been running a business, helping other PTs at a high touch level build this out. And now Derek and I are working on building out his agencies. He's the new HPT. It's called the PT Marketing Machine, and we're referring our clients to him for help with their marketing, their sales, their funnels, etc. And so Derek and I have been, in contact over the last few weeks, working together, building this out, strategizing, etc., chatting. And, look, Derek and I are good friends. And so he sent me a message this morning and was just like, hey, Aaron, just as he's trying to think through the process and the copywriting and these things, he's like, what are the traits that determine success? And so I didn't want to just keep this answer just for Derek. I wanted to share it with you guys. So there's a couple things in there that are coming. Derek and I, we haven't worked together for a few years, but now we're working together again, which is awesome, as a way to help our clients build out not only the marketing, but one of the things Derek's building and come up with is creating this clinic scorecard where you're going to be able to see all your clinic metrics really easily, and no one's going to have to go track them down. It's going to get all compiled for you based on a few parameters that we set up and really show you the bottleneck, because that was I'm getting back off track, but that was the thing that he saw is like, hey, anyone can run you Facebook ads and bring you leads, but can you do the sales? And everyone says, oh, put the person in front of me, I can sell them, but that's not really the case. And so to really grow a business, we have to understand where the bottleneck is, and numbers are what really tell us where the bottlenecks are. And so if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your bottleneck. You can feel where the bottleneck is and think you know where it is, but you're not 100% certain. And that's one thing I have to get better with myself. So anyways, that's really cool coming down the road, and you'll hear more about that later. Today, I do want to talk about the traits that determine success. And if you're listening and you're not driving and you want to just jot down, what do you think the traits that determine success are? Do it now while I'm rambling and see if your ideas match up with mine. Or maybe you're like, well, I don't know. Do I have them? Or how do I get them? And I'm going to share a little bit about that with you on this episode. Here's the traits that determine success for physical therapy business owners, or really like any business owner. Number one, I think I've talked about this a little bit before. You must be quick to ask for help. So successful business owners ask for help, but don't go asking for help from your family and friends who don't own businesses. Ask for help from your family and friends who own businesses, and also ask for help from mentors, coaches. Be willing to go out and hire a coach, hire a mentor, pay. I'm trying not to do a lot of don'ts in this episode, but don't go ask someone, can I pick your brain? Take them out to lunch and be like, hey, I'd love to get to know you. And then ask them some questions, but don't just take from people, give. But at the same time, you have to be willing to ask for help. I was sitting down talking to my one of my good friends last night, struggling with a business issue, and he's really starting to, finally like share and talk about it, but he hasn't talked about it up until about 3 or 4 weeks ago, because one, it involves litigation and lawyers and a lot of money. And two, he was like, I was ashamed and embarrassed that I had made a mistake and I couldn't see the problem. And, I was like, yeah, man, I've been there, we've all been there. He's like, it just feels good to talk about it. And he was saying, yeah, you just got to go ask for help. We got to talk about these things with the right people. And then when it comes to coaching, as coaching client, the 3 things I expect our Platinum Mastermind members to do is ask for help. Because as your coach, I cannot help you unless I know there's a problem. Hey, as your father, as your husband, as your spouse, your partner, I can't help you with a problem unless I know that there is a problem. Aaron doesn't read minds. I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I don't read minds. I take things for face value. And if you don't let me know what's wrong, that you're struggling with a problem, that you have a question or something, like, I can't help you. And maybe you'll get help along the way, but only when someone else asks that question. But if you ask that question now, you reach out to a Facebook group, a friend, a mentor, or whatever, hey, I need some help. Like, dude, you're actually going to get some help, or you can struggle in silence. So you must be quick to ask for help. And then you must be quick to take action and implement what you learn. Success loves speed. Money loves speed. You have to take action. And look, sometimes taking action means that you're going to make a mistake, and that's okay. But you have to be willing to take fast action, imperfect action. And it's not just even imperfect action, or 80% is good enough. Colin Powell at one point said, I think, and I'm quoting someone else who quoted him, but it's basically like, I only need 40% of the information to be able to make a decision, about going to war in Iraq. I think that was back in the 90s. Right? He doesn't need all the information, didn't even need half the information. He just needs 40% of the information. And I could be misquoting him. I probably am, but go Google it, prove me wrong. That's cool. I misquote things all the time, but the point is, the important part, that once you ask for help and you get some information, or once you see, don't sit on the fence, take action, implement what you learn, because the people that go and do are the ones that hit success fast, and you're going to hit the lessons fast too. The faster you act, the faster the results will come, and along the way, you're going to learn the lessons. So that's the third one, is be quick to share. You must be quick to share your wins and lessons, quick to share your experiences with the people that ask for help, or even, don't just go give unsolicited help. But look, you wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be here if I didn't share what I knew. If I didn't share what I know, I didn't share my experiences, there wouldn't be a cash PT anything. There'd be a hashtag on Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, Twitter, but who goes to Twitter anymore? If I wasn't sharing what I knew, which I took a massage therapy practice model and started a physical therapy practice model with it. And if I didn't share those things that I learned as a massage therapist for 8 years or 10 years before I became a PT, if I didn't share the business lessons I learned in massage therapy school, maybe someone would come along and do it. But at the time when I started my practice, there were other physical therapists doing a cash practice, but they certainly weren't sharing it and helping other people do the same. There was one other person came along around the same time, and that was Jared Carter. So shout out to Jared. I mean, Jared was doing it, but we kind of come back and forth. We're helping each other and helping other people. Unselfishly giving and sharing. But there was no one when I started my practice. There was no one out there mentoring other people and starting a cash practice. They all wanted to keep it to themselves. A lot of people still want to keep it to themselves. It doesn't matter if it's cash practice or how to run a workshop or how to fix ACL. How to repair ACL, not repair the ACL. Do the rehab. Like, go share the secrets. And as you're sharing in your marketing, you need to share more about the what and that and the why versus the exact steps how. But share your wins and lessons. So our mastermind members, when we start, I onboarded a new member yesterday, and there's 3 questions I ask because these are the 3 big ones. Is, do you promise to be quick to ask for help when you need it? Yes. Okay. Do you promise to be quick to take action and implement what you learn? Yes. Do you promise to be quick to share your wins and lessons? Yes, you agree to those 3 things, you're going to be successful. And if you can do that, great. And another thing about sharing is I want you to share feedback with me. What worked, what didn't, what do you like, what don't you like, what can I improve, what can you improve? Share your testimonials, share your results with me, all those things. Like if you can do those things, like boom, you just move so much faster. Okay, next. Be willing to make mistakes. I kind of touched on this, but in order to be able to feel like you can take action quickly, you have to be okay with the mistakes. You have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to hear the word no. Hearing the word no is sometimes hard. Saying no is hard. Like, I don't want to say no to my daughter, but the other day she said, "Dad, just tell me no." Like, no. I was like, but I don't want to say no because I don't want to, like, she asked me a lot of questions a lot of times, and a lot of them are no's because she's trying to push the boundaries and seeing what she can and can't do. I'm just like, but I don't want to tell you no. She's like, just tell me no. And I'm like, you're right. Even in your marketing, it's like, go out. Don't worry about, if I go out and talk to 10 people, will they reject me? Worry about, can I get 100 no's this week? Because if you get 100 no's, you're going to get a bunch of yeses along the way. You're just going to hear no more. But no is clear communication. Being rejected and no's are different. But, you go out and work with someone, and if they don't want to work with you, then they're not your people. And you have to be willing to make mistakes. The only way to take quick action is to know that I am going to make a mistake, and you know what? I'm going to learn from it. And I've made a lot of mistakes. Most I share, some I can't or shouldn't, like business, personal, etc. Whether they're appropriate or they divulge someone else's secrets, like, or private information. Like I will share as much as I can. But what I can say is that a mistake isn't a mistake if you learn a lesson from it. When you're thinking about like errors you've made in the past, even talking to my buddy Greg last night, and talking to Derek, talking to mastermind members who were at the event last week, talking to everyone. It's like, what are the mistakes that we make, right? And what are the lessons we learn from them? And this is something that Nick Essenplayer's, worked with me for over 3 years. And, he was one of the first to really get it when I started teaching this. Was like, sometimes we win and sometimes we learn. And it's like, you don't lose if you're taking the lesson from it, right? So if you're going to take the lesson, like, what's the lesson? How do I make my business better? Versus going out and being like, hey, I tried these strategies and they didn't work for me, and so this doesn't work. It's the same as someone saying physical therapy doesn't work. You're like, but you never tried my brand of physical therapy. Like, it's not a finite, concrete thing. Mistakes are there for you, not to you. Like, we were also talking about like Craig, Ballantyne, and Bedros, who were my coaches for a while, talk about one of their friends, Sean Stevenson. He's the 3-foot giant. I can't remember what the disease he had, but it was the disease where it makes your bones very brittle. I think, it's a gene anomaly where maybe it's a lack of calcium uptake or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he's had like hundreds of fractures in his life, and he became a motivational speaker, and he would get up there and say, he's in a wheelchair. He's, 3.5 feet tall. Every time he's fallen as a kid, he's fractured bones, and they've had to repair in different ways, and it just doesn't repair right. And it's just, but he's a motivational speaker, and he's helped millions of people, live more empowered lives. And he would share that this happened for me, not to me. It happened for me so that I can learn the lesson and pass it on to other people and inspire other people. And, if we take that frame that the mistakes are happening for you, these hard things, these, the traumas, like, what's it called? When people are like mean to you, like where like you feel like it's your fault that you put yourself in a situation, but just because you put yourself in a situation doesn't mean that you're responsible for the other person's behavior, right? Like, you're not responsible for the other person's behavior. You're responsible for your behavior and the way you react. But if something bad comes out of it, it's like, okay, like that happened to me, and I can be a victim and say, hey, I've got fibromyalgia and I'm never going to heal. And you can adopt a victim mindset, and you might be a victim on paper, but in how you act, does it have to be that way forever? Once you get past it, maybe some people get stuck there. But can you go into these things, especially in business and not in like personal relationships, but business can be traumatic too. Can you go into it with this idea that these things are happening to me so I can learn a lesson and make it better and help even more people? Well, then when those things happen, they become funny, and you're like, gosh, this wasn't the problem I came to work to solve today, but well, let me get through this. Let me figure out how this is going to make my business better. And some of those things have happened to me lately, and I see like, it's happening. It's just another piece in the step of the puzzle that's going to make Aaron, the 52-year-old, and the 55-year-old even stronger, more resilient, and more successful. So be willing to make mistakes, because when you're willing to learn from them, they're the things that are going to make you great. Okay, here's a couple. I mean, those are 4. I could probably end the episode right there. But there's some other things, these other traits that determine success that I've noticed over the last few years. People who take personal responsibilities for their actions. And taking personal responsibility, it means not expecting someone else to do the work, not expecting someone else to save you, and then owning up to your mistakes when you make them. But not the same mistake, like owning up to your transgressions against other people, like apologizing, and apologizing without condition. Like just saying, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I made a mistake. And, or I'm sorry I said that, I did that. And just leaving it as that without saying, I'm sorry I did that, but X, Y, and Z happened, so it justified it. Like, you don't make an apology with a justification. As soon as you justify your actions, that nullifies the apology. You can take personal responsibility in that way. Take personal responsibility for your business success and your business struggles. Like, I'm my own bottleneck. Like, it's my responsibility. Yes, there's outside factors in the world that are influencing things, but it's up to me to do this, right? And I want to do it with help. And I am doing it with help. But that's it. Like, take personal responsibility. I've also noticed this. I was telling someone yesterday. I mean, I've noticed this for the last few months. Like, we were talking on it. I did a recording of an interview with Michael Murphy, who is one of our successful Platinum Mastermind graduates. And, he was saying that he played collegiate soccer. And I'm like, I worked with him for over a year and didn't even know that. And I was like, wow, like a lot of the people that come through our programs who are the most successful members have played like a collegiate sport, a professional sport. Even if you weren't a top amateur, did you treat it like that? The idea is you've already put in hours of training. You've done training when you didn't want to. You've gone to work when you didn't want to for a bigger goal, right? So people who've already done that come into business and go, I've already done the hard shit. I've already eaten shit for years to get a result that I wanted. I know it's a long game, not a short game. You don't deadlift 405 pounds, just by starting deadlift and only deadlifting for 6 weeks. maybe there's one or two people out there that'll do that because they've been lifting boulders. I don't know. Or they're just massive. They're massively strong with short legs and femurs, right? People who have been in athletics, sports, I'm sure there's other activities, but soccer, running, football, cycling, cheerleading, baseball have come through our programs and they're crushing it. If you haven't had that, here's what I would challenge you is pick a big goal that's not in business and go after it, and do not stop until you hit it. Like whether that's running a marathon, racing a triathlon, something, it's doing 75 hard. Like I won't do 75 hard because I already did like 8 years hard racing bikes, 8 years, 10 years. I mean, I raced bikes from the time I was 18 to 34. And I've done some racing since. Go do something. Set yourself a big challenge, not just a 6-week challenge. Set yourself something that you know is going to take 2 to 3 years to accomplish, like snatching a 24 kilogram kettlebell overhead 100 times in 5 minutes. I've been working on that one for 6 years and not there yet, but I'm going to get there this year. Okay. Next, you love the work. You love the problem solving. You're not just here for the result. I'm not just here to make money because this is a good idea to make money because I see other people doing it. It's like I'm here because I love doing the work and I love solving the problems. I just want to solve the shitty, stupid problems that prove I made a mistake, or the problems that are out of my control. I want to solve big problems to help people. But you love the work. I love it. Like if I didn't have problems to solve, this would suck. I love coming into work, making my coffee. I love helping my clients. I love seeing whether it's a patient or a coaching client. I love seeing that switch in their eye, their expression when they've had this aha moment and things are better now. Like I love that part of the work. And that's why I'm going to keep doing this no matter what else happens. I love this part of the work. I love it. I love building new things. I love creating new things. And I love helping people. So you have to love the work. It's not just about the destination, it's the journey. I just did a podcast on that. Next, you have to be driven. You have to be driven. You have to be internally driven. You have to be internally driven to help others, not just to succeed yourself. You will succeed yourself when you help others. When you solve a big problem for other people, they will pay you big money or a little bit of money in droves, and you'll be successful. But you have to be driven to do this. It's almost like there's a machine in you, or not you have to, like this is the commonality. There's a machine in you that just keeps you going and going no matter what obstacle gets in your way, how many people tell you their idea is stupid or it's never going to work. You have to be driven. Like there's a motor, there's a thing in you, and it's not just because you took your ADHD medication that you have a motor. That medication helps the motor focus on the destination and get things done. It was funny at our retreat. There was three of us. I won't name their names, but we're chatting at our Thursday night thing, and we're talking about it. And it was like all of a sudden I could tell like the three of us all had the same experience, and the other people in the conversation were like, "It's not ADHD that makes you a successful entrepreneur. It's just that is a commonality, but it didn't even make my list because it's not like the determinant." But it was funny because. And I'm getting off track, but we all had I was like, yeah, this, that, and it helps do that. It's not a solution, but it was funny because we all kind of got it. And the other people standing there were like, don't really get it and don't have it. But everyone in that room is driven for a purpose to help patients' lives be better and to help themselves and their families and to get this freedom that we're promised. But to get the freedom you're promised, you can't sit and wait. You have to go after it. Okay, that leads me to the next one, which is you're focusing on helping others before helping yourself. It's not that, in the morning even, I'll feed myself before I feed the kids. Well, not lately, but when they were younger, it was like, if I can't operate, I can't help the kids, right? My primary goal isn't about me, it's about other people. I derive satisfaction in helping other people. Seeing other people succeed makes me happy and allows me to succeed in business and succeed in their fitness and their body. To me, it's helping others. It's the outcome that my clients get. It's the quote from my dad that he says, I've mentioned this a lot. It's like, when you do right by your patients, the money will follow. The money you need will follow as long as you're doing right by the person, customer, client, patient in front of you. That's the thing. And which is different than, hey, like I said before, hey, this is a great idea and I can make a lot of money from it. A great idea and making a lot of money from it isn't going to allow you to be successful because you don't believe in it, and it's not going to follow your passion. It's just a great idea and you can make a lot of money and someone else is doing it. But you got to figure out why. This really goes back to the why. Like, why are you into this? For me, it's to right the wrongs that have been done to me. Being denied health insurance and being, basically showing up and, waiting 2 hours and told, like, by the signs and the vibe, like, you're not really valued here as a patient. You got to focus on helping others before you help yourself, because helping yourself is focusing on others. It helps you. If you're going to come into PT business and you don't care about helping sick people or people who are injured or hurt. I had a classmate in school said, I asked, like, what brought you to PT school? She was like, I don't know. I don't like I don't like sick people. I don't like working with sick people. I'm like, And someone else is like, what else are they going to do with a sports science degree? I'm like, I don't know, be a banker. This profession is about helping other people. Okay. Next, you are willing to invest in the long-term outcome. Similar. It's like, what's the goal? The goal isn't now. Look, the goal isn't like, I'm not here for the goal. Like, and I love the work along the way, but it's not about being here and saying, hey, I'm in it. I'm going to make money in 30 days. I'm going to start a business, and in 30 days or in a year, I'm going to have everything I want. There's a lot to do. I'm in my 25th year of business, and I haven't done it all, and I've got a whole lot more to do. And I couldn't have done it all in just 5 years. I could have sped it up for sure, because I've done a lot of things I probably spent time on or didn't do. But you have to be willing to invest in the long-term outcome. Invest your time, your effort, your money in this long-term outcome. Especially PTs are much more willing to invest in a degree than you are success in business. And I get it. A degree is something that, isn't quite guaranteed, but as long as you study and you get B's, you can pass the test and you got a degree. It's decently guaranteed. Schools are say, hey, 85, 90% pass rate on the NPTE. Okay, great. You give them $250,000, 95% pass rate. Boom. You give me $250,000, I can't guarantee 95% chance you'll be here in 5 years or 10 or even 1. So you have to be willing to invest in the long-term outcome, because this is a long game. Business success is a long game. I'm 25 years into it. I probably have another 25 or more to go. I'll probably never not do something in business. And I'm 50. So I got, 45 years to 50, depending on how long we live then. Be willing to invest in the long-term outcome. Or the trait is that successful business owners have a long time horizon, a view of a long time horizon. That's their view. It's not a this year or this month view, or even in 5 years. It's like, where am I going in 10 years? So even on the interview yesterday, I asked Michael Murphy, he's like, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? He's like, I don't think that short. I'm thinking where am I going to be in 10 years or more? I was like, well, tell me about it. All right, talk about the traits that determine success. He's not thinking about tomorrow. He's thinking about 10 years or more. Okay, next kind of section of just block of ideas. Successful business owners are solving a big problem, and not just what they think is the problem, but they're solving a real big problem people want solved. Not just what I think the problem is. You have to go and survey your audience. You have to know what they want problem solved, and it has to be a big one. You solve a big problem, people will pay you big money. You solve a small problem, people pay you small money. You need a lot more people to do that, and there's money in that, but it's still a big problem. It might be small for the individual, big in numbers, or small in numbers of people, but big, to them individually. You have to solve that big problem. You provide a solution or an easy button for that problem, and you're going to be successful. Successful entrepreneurs and business owners aren't here for the money, and because it's a good idea, I already went over this, but because they followed their heart and listened to their customers. Like I said, you Listen to your customers and clients. They'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you what they want. You get enough of a following, they'll start asking questions and tell you what they want you to help them with. Traits that determine success. You don't like to be micromanaged. If you don't like to be micromanaged, you'll probably be successful as a business owner if you choose, but maybe not. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe successful business owners didn't like to be micromanaged, or maybe that's just Aaron. Like, I really hated being micromanaged, but I hear this from my clients a lot. They don't want to be micromanaged. They want to be given an outcome and a goal and allowed to do the work in their own way. And that's number one reason they go and build a business. Because like, look, I'm putting in all this work. I'm being micromanaged and I'm putting it in the time for this other person. Let me just go do it for myself. Successful business owners have big dreams and they don't want their dreams to be limited or capped. You got big dreams. People are telling you your dreams are, obnoxious and unreasonable. They're too big. You're probably onto the right thing. When people are telling you, when you get haters and trolls, you're probably onto the right thing. You don't want your dreams capped by other people. So as long as you don't want your dreams capped by other people and you got big dreams and you're willing to go after it and you'll stop at nothing to get it. But then you have unreasonable expectations of yourself and others. This one's really tough. Put this one at the end. It's tough because I have unreasonable expectations. Like, I'm almost never satisfied. And if I look back at the results that I've achieved, the people I've helped, I'm like, I've done a lot. You've done a lot. I know you have. But what are your expectations? What's going to push you and drive you? It's not the perfection. I'm not talking about I have an unreasonable expectation for perfection. No. It's for, and not just one, bettering myself every year. It's for helping people and being and working hard and being good and doing good. And also expecting other people on my team to at least put in the same amount of effort that I'm putting in. And I know they won't, because it's my business and not theirs. I know no one else can be Aaron, and you can't expect everyone else to be you, but you can still have an unreasonable expectation that they should. Just in reality, you have to understand that, like, if they're 80% as good as you or saving you time, even if they're 50%, but they work hard and they're great people and they fit on your team and they're saving you a ton of time and making you money, like, it's there, but you can still have unreasonable expectations. Because that's what drives things forward. And if you can get a bunch of other fighter jets on your team, just like Bedros describes fighter jets and versus crop dusters, you're a fighter jet, you have unreasonable expectations of how fast you can go. I want everyone else to be able to come on board and keep up. And if you can't keep up, you fall off. Okay, great. Let's keep going. And that's one of these other things I've started to learn over the last, 10 years is, as I go faster, people are gonna try to hold on and they can't, and they're gonna let go, or I'm gonna have to let them go, because I've got unreasonable expectations of myself and of other people. And really, I don't know if it's unreasonable, but a lot of times, and talking about this, as a coach or as a physical therapist, I believe in my clients and patients more than sometimes than they believe in themselves, and that's okay. But if you believe in yourself, so believing in yourself didn't make this list because there's a lot of self-doubt that goes around, which is totally fine. If you believe in yourself, or you start to believe in yourself, you'll go far. But I don't think that's a quality that needs to be on this list, because do I believe in myself? Do people I know really believe in themselves? That they can actually do it? I don't know. I would say that's debatable, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to, because so many people around you feed in this self-doubt about how these goals and aspirations are so unreasonable that it's hard to feel like, yeah, I know I can do this. Some people do, but whatever. But you have to have this is the unreasonable expectations of your success, of the effort, everything. You put that in, you go hard every day, no matter the mistakes or the wins or successes or the weather or the rain, and you keep going, because the last point is successful business owners, successful people, they never quit, because you only lose when you quit. You will not lose if you don't quit, no matter what happens in this current iteration of your business or life. As long as you keep going and you keep moving forward, taking step after step, and you don't quit, you will win, because successful people, don't quit. And that is the key to success. Those are the traits that determine success. Thank you for listening and spending your time with me today. Hopefully you picked up some good pieces. Hopefully we went through this list and you were like, oh yeah, dang, raise my hand. That's me. If nothing on here resonated with you, I don't know, and you've got a successful business, dude, I'd love to hear about it, but I'm not expecting you to reach out and let me know. But I just love to know, or for you to know, like what things resonated with you, what didn't. And that's okay. This isn't absolute. This is my opinion. And from 25 years of doing this and 50 years on the earth, and I'm sure there are things I left out, but does it matter? No. What really matters is what you do with the information and how you apply it to your business and go and help other people. So go help some people today. Solve some big problems. Don't quit. Set unreasonable expectations. Don't quit. And I'll see you on the next show. Peace out.